All right, so welcome to another episode, Sudden Change Pod. We got Beans here, we got A here. It's been a while. How you feeling?
Yeah, good man. Season coming to an end, so yeah, just getting used to not having football around. So, but nah, it's been good.
Got you. Before we get into this week, you were down in DC for the Falcons Commanders game. How was that?
Good energy, man. Good crowd. I heard mixed reviews. It's my first time at that stadium. Mixed
Mhm.
reviews about the stadium and all that. But the old venues kind of, get the fans truly to come out. So, um, it was good atmosphere. Like, they was loud. Primetime game was
Yeah,
good. Went to overtime. It was a good game though. Yeah, overtime game, but.
yeah,
Jaden, he looked good that night. He played good ball. Penix played okay. Like he had his moments, but led a good drive at the end. So you couldn't ask for more. Honestly, just a W. But other than that, it was a perfect game to go to.
yeah. So we watched those young guys on TV, but you don't get to see how they look like during timeouts, how they look pre-snap, and like all that other stuff in the huddle. So what'd you gain from watching them in person? Like, do you feel any differently? Are they the real deal?
Um, yeah, few like Jaden is just he's quick. Like his quickness is automatic. Like 5 yards. Like it's one miss and it's automatic. Like a positive gain. So. Kyle Pitts is like very different in person. Like
Really?
probably like he's like the tallest thing out there. Yeah, his the speed of the game is like very, being that close is very different.
Yeah.
It's definitely like compelling to watch because like, these dudes is top players like Bijan is in a different category. Like, his first half was like this is easy for him, you know what I mean? So um like I said, man, it was definitely good to see up close, but some dudes are TV don't do them any like justice. Like these dudes like it's very different.
Gotcha. All right, so let's move on to week 18. Do you guys win or lose? I know the Tampa
Yeah,
won,
we
so I'm
lost. We
assuming
lost
you
the last
lost, right?
two. Yeah, we lost. We lost. Though. Yeah, we lost in overtime to the Panthers.
Gotcha. So now that the season is done for you
Yeah,
guys, what are the biggest, like, what's the biggest needs? What's the biggest things you want to see happen in the offseason?
defense. Like, we had a chance at the deadline to, get some pass rush help. We did not. We stayed pat, and it bit us in the tail. Like, we just didn't affect the quarterback enough against anyone really. It came on late after the bye, but not enough to be a playoff team. And that's when I kind of saw, the writing on the wall. It's like we ain't getting enough stops to be playing in late January. So it's kind of best that we did not advance or make it to the playoffs because we wouldn't be able to stop nobody. Like, and I told you, like, we make opposing quarterbacks have their best week against us. And if you look at the numbers, like the week that these quarterbacks play us, like they look tremendous. So it's just best to save the embarrassment and just retool in the offseason.
Yes, I haven't followed your drafts that well, but I feel like y'all been loading up on offense, at least in terms of players that are making a real difference, but maybe not translating as much on defense.
Um, so we lost our top defensive player in preseason, Braylon
I remember
Trice.
that.
He tore
Yeah,
his ACL.
yeah.
One of our, safeties that we had got and back in the draft last year, he got hurt in preseason. So that's why a lot of
Mhm.
guys didn't really see preseason time this year because they were already dropping early.
Makes
Never
sense.
solidified a cornerback two. Um, Pass rush never really came about with, after Trice missed. Drafted some guys in the defensive interior, Brandon Dorlus and Rook Ororo. Dorlus hasn't played like that, but Rook played some meaningful snaps. He looks good. A lot of guys are like developmental pieces, so I think if we transition to the younger guys, we'll see a lot of the older guys, leaving probably, they're playing like the same position as these guys. So that's all coaching at that point. Like you draft these guys, you gotta have a plan or development plan. So I don't know, man.
So, what would you like to see the Falcons do early on in the draft? Because you got, I guess, the DBs coming back from injury. What's a linebacker, D
All
line? What do
defense,
you
all
want?
defense. Yes, so we
All
are
defense.
honestly, it needs to be like we can pick up a wide receiver three in free agency, but
Mm,
like if it's free agency is not a linebacker or a pass rush, which they, pass rush you probably go cheaper in the draft. It's got to be, edge rusher, cornerback two, linebacker, like in that order. Like we just don't do enough to affect anybody's quarterback. So pass rush is always going to be number one thing. I feel like you just can't have enough pass rushes. Like like
Of course.
guys get hurt. Some win rates are different. Like just having fresh bodies. Pass rush, linebacker, cornerback too.
So last thing on that, ultimately, now that we see Penix is starting, we see what happened with Kirk. Was it a mistake to spend all that money on Kirk, do you think?
It was. We didn't need to because you paid like they've been saying. You paid 100 mil for 90 million for 14 games. You could have literally just got like a Justin Fields or a Russell Wilson or one of these bridge quarterbacks to do that if you were going to do that. Hindsight, but like you could say that now, but Kirk played well for the first nine
The
games. So
start, yeah,
it's like it looked like a great move. Like you guys are 6-3. Kirk is playing some of the top ball in October. Like, oh, and yeah, I got Penix stashed away. Like it looked good. So honestly, I commend him for even getting Penix because if there's no
smart.
Penix, that dude, man, I don't know what that looks like those last 4 to 5 games. Maybe
Yeah,
that's Bill Kirk and he's just I don't know. So I mean, it's a good pick, because now we could just jump right and try. Everyone was like, "Oh, Penix isn't gonna play for 2 years." Penix played his rookie season. He's gonna he's gonna be QB1 going into the second year, already. So no one expected that. So
yeah.
I guess that's why you got to make the call, and it's actually a good move.
So as far as Kirk goes, what do we think his future is after the Falcons? Is he
Um,
still a starter? Because he's up there in age at this point.
he is, because we're gonna owe him money, so he can go play somewhere like how Russ is doing in Pitt. He can play on a vet deal, and we'll still be paying him. It's gonna
Yeah.
always be a QB needy team. Deshaun Watson news came out, which I think is very skeptical. Like but
I didn't hear
we'll
the
get
news.
into
What's the
that.
news? I didn't hear
He
it.
had they had exit interviews and he had a setback. But I think that's the plan of you know let's just have a fresh start. Like, you know what? Like, you'll have a setback. You'll sit the whole year, rehab. You could walk in 26. Like, it makes sense for them instead of owing him all that money. And then,
Yeah.
God forbid, he doesn't play well again next year. He comes back. Like, y'all just look like one of the worst teams ever for that contract. But, no, it's up to Kirk. I guess if he wants to take the role of just being a bridge guy, he's not going to be like, the starter long term. It's just
Okay.
accepting a role that he's going to be in.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Very interesting season for the Falcons. We were talking, auto playoffs almost, but things happen. So,
Like six
but
and
the future
three,
is
four
bright.
game leader. It
Yeah, if y'all
is,
get the defense together, the future is bright. Penix shows that he can be the guy when it comes down to it. The offense is, I don't want to say stacked, but close to stacked. I got a lot of talent on offense, so I think that'd be good moving forward. As long as Penix gets together in the defense.
definitely.
Um, Packers, we lost the last two. We lost to the Vikings. Slow start. I was telling y'all in the chat. I think that game could have went differently had we not started so slow. And then the Bears, Love gets injured early. We turn it over to Malik Willis, and it is what it is. Washington won anyway, so it didn't matter if we won or lost. We was always gonna have to play Philly, which for me is worst case scenario. I would have rather went to Tampa, went to LA, anywhere other than Philly, but we'll see what happens. Y'all were saying in the chat yesterday that the Packers are who y'all thought they were. What did y'all mean by that?
I think Casey, who said that? I didn't.
Somebody said it. I think you agreed.
Somebody just said no. I was just like, Pack did just enough this year.
Okay,
Like,
maybe I'm confusing it. Yeah.
yeah. So someone else said that. I think it was Casey, but Pack did just enough. Like, they didn't have to really beat anyone to like solidify their spot. Like, they just did. They just beat who was on the schedule when they need to. Like, they didn't do well in the division. Like
One and
top,
five.
prime time game. Like the Bears, like saved you. You got a block field goal that saved you a game. So,
Yeah.
um, and with the Vikings and the Lions being hot, like y'all literally just like, okay, well, y'all go ahead, but we'll just slide into this little fifth or
Yeah.
sixth spot, and we don't got to do too much. And like you guys had a spot locked up, rather
Yeah.
earlier than most teams, so it was like, all right, bet. Like it was a 3 team race for a while, and then y'all kind of just, I think after that last Lions loss. Just like, all right, well, we know where we are and like we're here, but no one's gonna catch us outside of, behind Washington. So you guys pretty much coached to a playoff berth. You didn't really have to like get challenged to like pack me to win to get in. It's like, nah, y'all clinched that like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's fair. I think that Lions game showed that we can compete. It's
You
just
can't
such
do
a
it. Yeah, it's just
you just
inconsistencies.
yeah. I was just saying you just never know what you're gonna get from week to week, especially from Love. We don't even know what the situation is with his elbow or hand or whatever it is.
What
So
is it? So my
I,
thing with that was like, are you hurt? But like you're still here on the sideline. So like, why are we not even trying to medically get like? I just didn't get that. Like what's the injury?
yeah, I don't. I have no idea. But
He got a coat on. He's sitting there. I'm like, I don't need you to cheer him on. Like, get him in the tent. Like, can we fix it today? Or like, it's not gonna
yeah,
take your stuff off. Like, cause just throwing on a jacket, it just looks crazy.
yeah.
Like okay,
Um,
they clinched. Do they not just care? Like they're in the playoffs, so like whatever. But like, let's not start getting on some treatment because we gotta play next week. So
yeah,
yeah, it
definitely.
was just it was a weird dynamic to see.
Yeah. So, but if he plays, I think we have a shot. If LaFleur
Always
can
do.
call, if he can call the games like he called last playoffs, I think we have a chance. But the Christian Watson thing hurts a lot, and not because he's some amazing receiver, but you game plan differently when you got somebody that can take the top off versus
Yeah.
the receivers we have now, who none of them are speedsters like that. Reed could go and get it, but that's really it. So I think we're at a
Is
disadvantage.
I think it'll be closer than what you expect. Like you said, you never know what Packers team is going. Like the Packers team that came out against like Dallas last year. I don't think you even remotely saw that.
I didn't
Like
see it coming. No.
I'm like that's a Super Bowl type of performance, and
Yeah.
I think the Eagles got a lot on their plate too. Like it'll be a lot of they'll hear a lot of talk because they can't lose that game. Like that's like so Hurts has been in. That's why I was like, hold on, Hurts in protocol still like.
Is
You
he?
don't know. And you guys, when Packers can't get after the quarterback when they want to, like Packers could be one of the best teams in the NFL, but you also could be one of the worst of the playoff teams.
Yeah, yeah,
Is it the, you know what I mean? Like you guys can do everything well, on both sides of the football. It's just, can you put it together? Like, yeah, but one of the best ball hawks, and having no Jair hurts, but like, you can get after the quarterback. You guys can stop the run. Like you have a stout like front seven.
yeah,
Like, is it going to be the arrogant love, or is it going to be the love that can just kill clock with possessions and timely first downs, and you know it, that's just always the inconsistent part. You just don't know, but it's there. That's the scary part against like makes y'all a scary opponent because it can happen. Like Jaden Reed can play well,
yeah.
Wicks could play well, Dobbs could all of a sudden have 3 catches for 3 touchdowns, but like he won't get a catch next week. Like it's y'all crazy, but I'll give y'all a chance more than people will give you. Like give you a
I
chance for
think so.
against the Eagles.
Yeah, I
It
think we
could
do.
happen, especially if Hurts is not healthy.
Yeah,
You don't know. And the Eagles have issues scoring as well. So Bark is the callus over there, but I think it'll be a close matchup.
yeah. And so going into the offseason, as somebody on the outside looking in, I've seen Packers fans on different social media saying we need to go and find a true wide receiver one. Given our system and how we play, do you think that that would be the next step? Like we need to have that guy instead of having a bunch of good guys, have that one top guy.
Mm, um, it'll help the other guys get open, but it's not like a dire need. You just need a different receiver than the ones you have in the court. I feel like those that group are all the same. Like
Mm.
nothing that Dobbs, Wicks, and Reed do like separates themselves. Like, well, he does that. It's like y'all like the same tweener.
Yeah.
Like that's what made Watson so different because his body size was different.
Right.
Like so he had the speed and intermediate, but like is Reed and all those guys gonna win one on one outside of numbers? Nah,
Yeah.
not probably not.
That's
So
true.
like, just throwing a name out there, but like a guy like T Higgins is like a different type of receiver
Would love that.
that yeah, but like that's the receiver that could win outside the numbers.
Mm.
While those three inside can like they're a mismatch nightmare for a lot of teams because that's what they're good at.
Yeah. That would make it definitely would open things up for everybody else if we had that guy. I don't know what our money is like, but I doubt we're gonna do that. It's just not the Packer way, really. Everything
Yeah.
is receiver is always homegrown, so we'll see. Um, so the regular season's over. That means coaches are starting to get fired. You said Doug probably is gonna be out with the Jags. So what do what's next for the Jags? Because they're one of those teams like, what are y'all doing? Like really, what's the bigger picture here?
You went to a Jazz game. Until they get that stadium fixed, I don't know what's gonna happen up there. Um,
But
like
the
that's the
crazy thing
thing.
is,
Like
like, they played us well. They played Minnesota well. They played a bunch of teams
they play
well
a
when
lot of
Trevor's
teams well. They
healthy.
just lose. They just
Yeah,
lose. Um, I guess maybe like a young, fresh name to pair with Trevor Lawrence if that's going to be your future. Bring him in. Like Doug was a Super Bowl winning quarterback and it didn't work, so it's kind of hard to see what you turn to that's going to work. Like what do they have to look forward to? Brian Thomas, one of their highlight spots, but I think he finished like top five in receiving too, which is
yeah,
crazy.
he's a dog.
Yeah. So if you can get Trevor back healthy,
That
add some
running back
pieces in the game.
situation is weird.
I don't know what happened there. I just think like it's probably fresh for a younger coach to come in and just try to take the reins and try to flip the culture and then see what they have. There's some pieces there, but that division is getting better and better. And now with the Titans having number one pick, it's probably only going to get even more more difficult. So Texans being good and yeah, like Titans will probably be better. Colts will probably be better. They're going to have a new coach as well or defensive coach. So it's tough to see which way the Jags will go. But I would definitely say leaning toward like a younger coach,
Yeah, I think the owner said something about they need to get more creative on both sides of the ball, which leads to a younger, more innovative
like a
type of
Ben
coach.
Johnson type of guy.
That's the
Like
name I
that's
see
the name
throwing up.
everyone, but like yeah, but somebody around his age group.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to keep jumping, but you did bring up the Titans. What do you think they do with that first pick? They're not going to get another quarterback, right? Is it
I
Will
think they
Levis?
will. Yeah,
They
you
will?
have to. I mean, even the coach came out and said they're going to add to the room, whether it's free agency or draft. You got to kind of
Yeah.
play the style. There'll probably be three quarterbacks in the first two rounds for 3 years, I think, something like that. So
Yeah.
you got to get it right though. There, like if that's what
Yeah.
you got to do, you got to do like because that can solidify you for 10 to 12 years. So if that
True.
means you got to go get your guy, you got to get your guy. So Cam or Shador got it has to be going there
Other big name got uh, fired right after the game, Rob Mayo. What do you think of that situation? It's a lot of different thoughts on how that went after just a year.
My thought is that job just didn't seem like a fit for like anyone that was a first year head coach.
Mm,
Like
yeah,
it's some jobs where you'd be like, hell, it's a dream come true, but some job, every job ain't for you. He odds was already stacked against him. Those weren't the guys you drafted. You come in like team was like it's probably one of the worst rosters in the NFL. You get in
yeah,
Drake May, he doesn't start right away. That team wasn't gonna win too many games, but to fire him that soon after the game is crazy. But honestly, what I think, okay, you lost us the first pick, get up out of here. Like you know what I mean? Like because they were
yeah,
in line for the first pick, and that's happened for a few coaches. Like we saw Lovey
yeah,
Smith, when Lovey Smith went and won that game for they
yeah,
won, and it was like they got him out of here in like 20 minutes. So um, I think that probably played a factor into it too. Like we lost us the first pick, get up out of here. That's my thinking, but he never had a chance to succeed there
yeah. So, do you think them going out and winning that game was just him being a competitor and wanting to win, or was he trying to stick it to them a little bit?
because. So my thing is with that is like everyone says, oh, they lost the first pick, but you're not guaranteed to beat her next year. So like you got the first pick, but even if you still fired me after the game, I don't have the first pick now. Like I'm not a
Yeah,
part of that. That's on
yeah,
ownership and the rest of y'all are here. So like as a coach, I'm not saying, if I'm 3-13 and my job is on the line, yo, let's go win. Like because half of us are not going to be here. So ownership is going to get mad. Oh, ownership going to have the first pick, not you. So like,
yeah,
Draw Mayo left and they don't have the first pick. Like, okay, well, that's not my problem no more. So
yeah.
you can't think about the
Understood.
first pick when a lot of things can be changed at any given day in that league.
Yeah, that's true. Um, I was listening to Dan Orlovsky, and I didn't watch the whole clip. They were asking him which coaching job would you rather have, the Bears or the Pats? As a coach yourself, coming into those situations, which would you rather take? Which job?
Um, I'll take the Bears. I think their roster is definitely a little bit, you know, more has more depth.
Mm,
Drake May I think is going to be a good quarterback, but I think they're a ways away more than the Bears are. Like I feel like the
yeah,
Bears are closer to competing for a playoff spot than the Patriots are.
yeah. They played a couple teams close. They should have beat Detroit on Thanksgiving. So yeah, the
They
Bears
played the
could
Bills
be.
well, like
Yeah,
I mean the Patriots, but the Bears played a lot of teams like well. They just can't finish, and
yeah,
that's the difference between like we said before, like the Chiefs, playing those close games and winning them. Like they were probably, if you flip all their games, I think they're like 3 and 14 as well. So
yeah. They got
um,
it done.
yeah, it's got to find a way to get it done.
Yeah. So talk about some stuff leading up to the playoffs. So I know ultimately it comes down to you got to win your games to get in the playoffs. But what do you think about the situation like the Bengals went through, where they're fighting to get that last spot, and the Chiefs sit everybody, and Denver just coasts into the playoffs? What do you think about that?
It sucks, but like the Bengals can't blame nobody but themselves. Like a couple games they let go away. I think
Mm,
both against the Ravens right there, like that's your playoff berth right there.
right.
You can't be mad at the Chiefs. Like the Chiefs went 15-1 and they
Mm,
got a bye. Like it sucks because you need the help, but I was always taught like you gotta go handle your business because you're not gonna get help in the game. So um yeah, it just sucks because they were hot and no one wants to see them. And if the Chiefs are
yeah,
smart, you know what? But it could always be karma. Like you let the Broncos get in, you could
true.
probably see the Broncos and they only beat the Broncos by a block, field goal. So it's like they gave you tough games as well. So you got to be careful with that because I've seen teams like, all right, well, we'll sit, and you end up seeing that team that you let get by and they beat you. So you got to be careful. But I don't think the Chiefs or nobody wanted to see Joe Burrow get in that because even if they couldn't stop you, you probably couldn't stop them. So
Yeah, yeah.
nobody really trying to have a shootout with them dudes right now.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't really think about it from that angle. The Chiefs kind of did control who they could possibly see down the line. So that definitely makes sense because nobody wants to see the Bengals when they're playing like this.
Because like 2 versus 7. So say if they beat but say if Bengals got in and beat Buffalo, that 7 seed's automatically going to KC, and we know how they play at K. Like they have no fear of KC, and
Yeah,
they're probably like coming in probably going to be like the better team on paper as far as offensive wise, but like I don't think the Chiefs want to see them coming out of a bye. So you want to see a rookie quarterback or you want to see Joe Burrow? Like
yeah,
you take your chances there. So
yeah. And I definitely agree. That makes a lot of sense. I didn't think about it like that. So do we think that that big three stays together? Is T. Higgins going to be back or is he somewhere else? What do you think?
um, I, I just feel like it's smoke clean. He want to stay, but like T. Higgins gets injured a lot, so you're gonna need to go get your money, like because like
True.
He didn't even finish the Week 18 game. Like he hurt his ankle.
Yeah, yeah,
It's been a recurrent theme with him for the last couple of years, just staying healthy. So I don't think he's in a position to take a pay. I know Joe Burrow is probably one of the best quarterbacks, but you also need guaranteed money to make sure your pockets is good. Your first big paycheck, I don't think you're really taking a pay cut. So
yeah, yeah.
I don't think he stays. It sounds good, but they need too much help on defense for them to pay him how I think he should be paid. So
Yeah, and that makes sense from his perspective to try to get that money now because he has been constantly injured. So secure it now, and then if you keep getting injured, it is what it is. But go and get the money now. So that makes perfect
fact.
sense. I was also listening to, I think it was Amara or somebody said that the playoff seeding needs to be changed. That the division winners should get in, but they shouldn't automatically get those top four seeds. It should be by record after that. What do you think about that change?
Well,
Because
they
a
only
lot of
said that
times better
because
teams are going on the road in those
yeah,
situations.
but they only said that because there was a chance they could have went 14-3 and been
On
going
the
to
road.
Tampa or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I mean, you got to win your division first. Like every year starts. So like, hey, win a division because you get the home game. Like, so what's the like?
But all divisions aren't created equal, though. We have to keep
You're
that
right.
in mind.
You're right. But
The NFC
but
North
it
is
fluctuates. It
different.
fluctuates every year too, though. Like NFC East is like one of the best last year, and then no one's seen like three teams in the NFC North having combined like 6 losses. Like
Yeah,
that's like unheard of. Like you know what I mean? Like um, it's a tough situation because like it's gonna like next year's gonna be a different division. It's gonna have that same conversation thing, but well, we should have had that. But like out racing your division to win win it is I feel like at least secures your home game, and then it's a tough conversation because I get
yeah,
why they felt that way, But like I just feel like if you win your division, at least a home game. Like that's the bare minimum anyway. Like because you're
Yeah,
not guaranteed a second, you're probably going to go on the road to one of the other top two seeds. So yeah.
yeah, I get it. I get both sides of it, but being on the road versus
So you
home,
feel like the Vikings, even though they went 14-3, they should be home, and the Rams should be going to them. I understand that part
I feel
too.
like yeah, they proved that they are the much better team.
That's
So
not a bad idea. Like I'm not opposed to it. I just always, I was always stuck. That's what we grew up on. Like you win your division,
yeah,
you get a home game. Because
yeah,
we've seen teams be under 500 and get a home game, and they make noise out of it. Like the Seahawks go and beat the Saints that year. Under 500 at home. I'm under a 500, record. So yeah, it's tough, but that would be an intriguing situation. Yeah, you won the division, but you ain't getting this home game because yeah, that'd be different. That'd
yeah.
be
People gonna
I
be
wouldn't be
mad no
surprised if
matter
that
what.
ever happened. Yeah, it'll be
People gonna be mad.
debatable all the time.
Yeah. All right. So let's we haven't talked any fantasy stuff in weeks. So
Don't
to
want
catch
to.
people to catch people up, season is over. Champ Cheese won it all. Were you surprised at the run that he made, barely getting
No
in
doubt.
playoffs and then just kind of going crazy?
So for the people that watch, like Cheese gets into the playoffs, no high score, like
Zero.
none. Jay Green comes in last with three, like that already was like crazy. Cheese
Fantasy.
wins on the last week of the season,
Beat me by 10.
beat you by 10. Yeah, so it beats you, slides into the fifth spot because of points.
Yeah.
Beats Dub because Kirk Cousins just doesn't play ball. Like he doesn't throw to Mooney at all. Beats
Yeah.
because Dub ended up coming back because Amon Ra was going crazy.
Was that the week Mooney had zero?
Yes, Monday night, and Cheese had Bijan. So Dub was literally just watching Bijan go off, and Mooney was not. Kirk wasn't even throwing the ball. We just ran it all night because Kirk
Yeah.
wasn't confident. They weren't confident in Kirk. Cheese beats him. Cool. Cheese also drops the highest points. Wild card weekend. Cheese never had the highest score any week of any time in this. Like, so it took Cheese 19 weeks to get, or 17 weeks to get whatever. Well,
I
15
swear.
weeks. 15
Yeah.
weeks to get a high score. Cheese drops 200. Cool. Cheese comes to see me. Cheese drops 237. Like
Going crazy.
for the Falcons, like I was telling John, the Falcons have never had two pick sixes in a game since 1983. Like they broke a record, bro. He had two
That
pick
40
six,
years? That's like 40
bro.
years. Goodness gracious.
Is older than me. Like two
Oh,
pick
for sure.
six.
More than all of us.
We were getting like 5, 6. Like we never did that. And then Brandon Aubrey had about 20 something points, bro. That's
Yeah.
like almost 50, 47 something points right there.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, there was
crazy.
nothing I can do though. Like I think the win was Jamison Williams.
Mm.
I left him on the bench and I played. I did not. I think I played Cooper Cup. I did play Cooper Cup. So all that talk about that trade, I actually got fleeced because Cooper Cup did not play well.
Yeah.
Um, Cheese was just hot that week. Like Lamar didn't play well, but like Bijan cooked. Um, I had started Penix because I had the Bijan. Played against the Giants. Penix didn't throw for anything. Bijan scored like 2, 3 touchdowns. It was his week, and then he gets to the chip, and John team just didn't perform how to even though he dropped like 170, that's
Yeah.
not his
Not enough.
standard.
Yeah.
Just not what he's been putting up. Like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So no CD hurts him because CD gets he loses CD. He lost D Mount before the playoffs, and then he lost somebody else.
Yeah.
I
He was a
forget
little
who it
beat
was.
up.
Yeah. So the bye kind of hurt him. So yeah, Cheeseman, he went on he actually knocked out like three of the top highest scoring team, three of the
It's,
like, you know, five top highest scoring team, doubled in the top five of scoring. Like he
yeah.
knocked out three of the I scored 222 and lost by 15. Like I'm just like, there's nothing I can do. Like,
Yeah. So he's at least this time he's a legitimate champ. He made a real run and beat who he had to beat, ran through him. So shout out to Cheese, I guess. It hurts me to say that,
yeah,
but
I guess. Yeah, he's paid him well. I don't want to talk to Cheese.
um so what's on the agenda for winter meetings? Are there anything that might be changing, anything
um
that's been on your mind? What we talking about?
so far on my mind, rookie, I think obviously everyone loves it. We'll vote on it, but
Yeah.
I feel like the rookie and the flex stays. I thought about adding a wide receiver spot
Hmm.
and taking off a bench spot. Um, so we'll start three wide receivers, have three flex because I think it'll really shift the draft as well again. So now it's like, all right, I
What
got
was it?
three
What
wide,
was the setup this year? I forgot. What was it?
two
It
wide
was two wide
receivers,
receivers.
two running backs, two wide receivers, three flex. So I'm thinking going three flex and one less bench spot. Keeping the keeping the auto sub. I think that helps guys for like
Yeah, for sure.
injuries. Auto sub, IR spot. Um, so we'll see how guys feel about adding the spot because I also wanted to do it because the trade would then I don't like even though they traded, I think Czech will have to finish his roster through the free agency. If we add on a spot, he wouldn't have to. So everyone would get their fair share of the draft, even with that three-team trade kind of messed up the draft, rosters. I think adding that spot, then it'll help
Yeah,
like even everything out. You don't have to go into the waiver wire. But it'll be conversations to talk about. Um, I don't really think we have too much to talk about other than trades, but that's between me and you, and they'll have to get on board with how we do trades because we can't have that same thing happening. Like, it seems smooth until guys stop voting.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
What
but
um, what are we thinking as far as draft positioning? What are you have any ideas on that?
no, not yet. So, I kind of like brainstorm through the internet, see what
Mm,
other leagues around the world are doing. I will put a few in the chat, and then we'll vote and see. I feel like last year was obviously we hit 10K on the draft,
yeah,
the lottery.
yeah,
So TikTok looking for us, man. I feel like we gotta be on something. I feel like we gotta come back and show them. I think something to keep the eyes and keep people interested in something fun. So we'll look into that. But I don't think the league needs to change too much. I feel like everything was in place. A couple tweaks here and there, and then we'll have a new punishment for 10th place. We'll think about that. But yeah, I think it was a good first year. Um, yeah, really no issues, man. Like it went smooth as I probably could have thought of.
yeah. So yeah, I was gonna bring up the video. The draft video did hit 10K. So shout out to TikTok, everybody watching over there. We had a couple other videos that was 3, 4K. So like we getting views over there. You kind of touched on it, but just big picture, like what's your vision? What's your goal for 2025? We came out with a bang, 2024 first season.
Yeah.
What's the goal? Like what are we trying to reach? Like
Man, honestly, I'm just trying to make our league like how like you see a video and it's like, yo, that league is fire. Like you just
yeah,
want to follow us because you know that league has something coming. And I just feel like after Jay Green's lemonade stand, like that's gonna put us at like if it's done right, we do
mm,
make sure we get all footage. If we do that right, I feel like that's gonna put us in because even when I tell people like what the punishment is, they're like, yo, that's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, like, and I think his willingness of it, like trying to make something of it, trying to make it seem like it's something
yeah, he
fun.
gonna make it. He gonna
Not
make
like
it.
he's like, yeah, of course, he's trying to make it seem like he ain't, well, I made my money back. Like, don't do that. You finish your last, like, I don't care what you made that. But I just think our league will put us in a position to be like, yeah, like this is something I look forward to. Like, what you guys got coming next. I feel like
Yeah,
that can be so I guess just more eyes on like what we're doing with our league.
yeah, I definitely agree. We got it's a lot of options, a lot of ways to get out there. On that video I posted to Jay Green, I had people from kind of all over asking where is this happening. I'm a little bit tentative to put all the information out there because people be weird
Yeah,
sometimes.
people be yo, yeah, we'll be
So it's
yeah,
like
like
I'm gonna have to try to keep it at least this time, keep it local, and then just keep everybody
yeah.
keep the videos coming so people see what's happening.
Until
But
we can get some security or something because you don't know who
yeah,
might try to
people
put
weird.
a put some C4 on my boy, Hulk free
um,
stand.
what was I gonna say? Yeah, so yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to everything coming up this year. Hopefully, get some more guests during the summer when things slow down for fantasy.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, we don't have time to go through all the wild card games, but are there any upsets that you think might happen this weekend?
Denver
What do you
beats Buffalo. Denver beats Buffalo.
really?
Yeah. And
I didn't think that was gonna be one. Okay.
Steelers beat the Ravens.
The Steelers being the Ravens, I could possibly see if that defense shows up.
It scares me for them because they just played, and it's really tough to beat a team twice in that short. Like football is different. Like those same plays, like just plays you score on don't work. Like I've been there. Like
Yeah,
division foe, like anything. You know what I mean? Like that's a tough matchup for them. Just off of some fact being in a division foe. And Russ is back in the playoffs. You don't know what to expect. It could be a bad game for us. But Russ could always do something to, tip the scale and, make a play. So I took Steelers over Ravens and I took Denver over Buffalo.
that's. I think Steelers. I think the Broncos gonna have a tough time. I'm just looking at these spreads, and we're talking about the seeding. There's a bunch of road teams that are favorites. The Vikings are favorites, of course. Commanders. Oh no, the Bucks are
Chargers?
favorite. I
Are the
don't know how
Chargers
to.
favorite?
The Chargers are favorite. That's the game I think it will be upset, but it's not really upset because the Texans are so depleted. Um,
Yeah.
and I thought the Commanders were favored, but the Bucks are. I'm surprised that the Bucks are favorite. I guess just because they're home. Um,
That Baker, that Bake, man.
he gets it
He
done
balling.
ultimately.
Yo, it's crazy because I was waiting on Baker to screw up so we could get in the playoffs. I was like,
Yeah,
you don't make mistakes no more like that. Like,
it's a different environment. He's
yo,
getting it done.
he's one of the few quarterbacks that beat, like he beat the Lions. Like, you know what I mean? Like not only two teams can say they beat the Lions, and he's one of them. Like, so
Yeah,
he's been playing good ball with them. I think, having Mike Evans, a good offense helps, but
definitely.
he's using his weapons, man. I'm not mad at Baker.
Why they got the Vikings and Rams playing on Monday? Was it like that last year for Wild Card? There was a Monday
So
game.
it's always a Monday wild card game.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm,
I don't know who it was last year, but the year before that was Dak playing Brady on that Monday night. I forget who it was last year though.
gotcha. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to a good Wild Card weekend. There was one last thing I was about to say. I don't remember. It'll come back to me. But shout outs,
Brooks, hey, it's a lot going on in the industry, but my girl's
bro.
solid, man.
Bro.
My girl's solid. So for
Yeah.
now, my girl's solid.
Hopefully none ever comes up. But
Yeah, hey, yeah, it's been shout out to her still staying solid and
yeah, it's
not
been a
being
weird week.
in no talk.
Very weird week.
Yeah, hey, it stay solid, Rooks.
Yeah, all right. So that's another good episode. We actually covered a lot. It's kind of good to be off for a while because a lot of stuff to get to. We'll be
Definitely.
back next week, go over the wild card, see what the
We'll
divisional
talk
round
about the
looks
Super
like.
Bowl pool too.
Yeah,
Do the
that's what it
Super Bowl
was.
pool too.
Super Bowl pool. That's what I was gonna say. Coming up, I think you said $5 a square,
Yeah, five a
125 a
square.
quarter.
Yeah, five each. Yep. So I'll post this weekend on the pod page. We'll get that situated.
Yeah, so we'll get the information out to y'all. Make sure y'all get in it, and we will catch y'all next week.
Yes,
Set
sir.
and change pod.